So hi everybody and welcome back. This is a video I wanted to do right now. We are in the end of 2024. I don't know when I will schedule it on my YouTube channel, but I think quite soon because this is, I think, quite interesting discussion. It have been since I think a couple of months right now since the model of the Nunu Platz Pink Pig Porsche RSR 218 arrived on the market. It's a conventional plastic kit that I still didn't buy, not because of the price or for some special reason, but just because the Pink Pig I already made, I think it was 2020 or slightly before the pandemic, and I used the Slot Fabric body shell made by Fola. Fola is a good friend. I do slot racers in a professional way, and they do these bodies that are not the conventional type of model that we are used to do. So it basically uh, makes body shell, probably starting from a 3D main body, and then using that like a kind of dime to place it over layers of carbon fiber to have an extremely light carbon fiber body to place over his slot racers. They are not so easy to build up, despite the subjects are constantly the most interesting ever. And he made this model long before anything about the RSR, that was the first official Porsche arrived on the market. The RSR, usually this name RSR is meant for the big factory racer made directly from Porsche racing team. And in 2018 they made this famous Pink Pig. There is the videos on my channel, and it was extremely interesting also for the livery and so on. But the bodies at the time were not available at all. The interesting stuff is that constantly from the slot racing and the die-cast models, we have a quite quick production of interesting models. And in the last few years also, about the modern racer, we were used to Tamiya stuff and so on, and Fujimi stuff that usually still consider like a new item, a Porsche 997 GT3, that is a car from 2010, between 2009 2010, so it's 15 years ago. Porsche is a prehistoric vehicle, compared to the modern vehicles. So already after that famous Le Mans that had the famous trio arriving in Le Mans, it was the Rothmans livery car, the official white, red and black RSR. I'm talking not about the GT3. And just I think it was a couple of years later, then I don't know if they went longer for the pandemic and so on. It was this Nunu Platz. This is I think is a Macau company based, that made, I'm currently awaiting right now a supplier part from the Nunu Platz. They had a quite decent customer service, so I need some rubber tires from them. And it was a company that announced at the time, showing in Shizuoka city a mock-up of a model in 1/24 scale of something that was a look-alike of that Porsche. And it was funny because before they say this is a GT3, no, this is an RSR, no, this is a GT3R. So without knowing exactly the different denomination of the real actual car. Now, at the end, after I think now 4 years of waiting related to a car that was from 2018, so it became a car already old of 6 years today, so it's very, very old model. And they arrived on the market recently with the Pink Pig car that you can find. It was the first car, and it was a hit, a blast, of course, because everybody loved that the modern Porsches. That the point around Porsches, despite I am, and you follow me like a GT40 model works, you see that in my channel I have a lot of Porsches. I like the racer, I like the type, but one of the, I don't know if to say negative or positive stuff about Porsches is that the Porsches constantly look the same. So if you look this line, it looks similar to this line, that looks similar to this line. They nearly look identical. So one of the bad points around Porsche is that they never dare to exit from this configuration. If you take, for example, the Ferrari firm, Ferrari every time have something different that sometimes match the taste of the people, sometimes like recently with the F80, people dare to say, no, I don't like the F80. Grazie al cazzo, we say in Italy. You don't like it. I don't think if Ferrari cares about what we like it or not, because they have their own customer and they already showed that they can make 800 cars that have been sold in 24 hours to a stellar price of 3.4 million euros. I don't think Porsche is able to do something like that. I don't think anybody is able to do something like Ferrari did. And Ferrari, anyway, invents something constantly different. If you think at the 360, then arrive at the 430, similar but slightly different design. Then the mighty 488. When you see that car, you say something that you say, fuck man, this is the nicest car I've ever seen in my life. Then arrived the 296, the SF90. Ferrari every time makes something new. Porsche does not at all, because they are too scared. When they try already in the 80s to switch from the model of the constant, always similar 1969 911, before in the S version, then the G-Type, then the 911, then the 964, then the 993. They try to make something different, like an excellent car like the 924 was, or the 928 was, featuring V8 engine. So they were really amazing supercar. They were worth nothing, and the company was nearly going to bankrupt after that trying of experience. So they constantly, after that experience, remain constantly connected to this type of shape. And in the modeling era, we had the Le Mans contender, that was this RSR. This is not, of course, the Nuno Plus. I wanted to use the model made by Burago, because Burago made this quite a decent die cast now, I think 3 years ago right now. And it was this, I want to show you this simple box, generical race stuff, generical stuff, and I think also paying their royalty also, because Burago absolutely does with them. It's a generical box with all the features and so on, because at the time there were only 2 options, maybe 3 with Fola stuff at Lox Fabric, but is a really quite extreme modeling, So if you wanted to go to have a type of model for the RSR, you can only take or the scale auto slot, and I took it also because I love anyway the RSR, and that's why I will not go for the Nuno model right now, unless I found it really at a bargain price. Already it is something that is around the 50 euros, so is already a good price. It's not absolutely expensive stuff. And I remember that I took the scale auto slot body for the RSR, and it was pretty decent, because they give a plastic, ordinary plastic body plus photo etch set, but of course all the inner part were featuring the mountings to be fitted over the scale auto slot parts, and it was already a box, was not a blister like they did back in time with the first GT3 kits from scale auto, that also nowadays completely became out of production and quite pricey if you find them around. And I went for it, but I remember that already at the time I paid for that box something like 60 or 70 euro from, I think it was Cric Crack, it was the Spanish shop selling stuff anyway for slot racer, Then little lately arrived this RSR that was a kind of blast, and they constantly have it in the catalog, Remember that today Burago is a China brand, and they pay all the royalty. They make it in the big scale, in the big numbers, the stuff that they pay the royalty for. And this model absolutely features a absolutely decent die-cast body, with the details of a die-cast, so you cannot expect absolutely too much. But you see absolutely the shape of the RSR based on the 991 model, Porsche, because as I say, they don't want to leave the island of the 911, they don't dare to leave the island of the 911. They evolved every time the model with new models. So before we had 996, then became the 997, then arrived the 991. We're already talking of cars that are over 10 years ago. Now it's already old. We had the 992, and indeed the famous racer now that won the IMSA this year in 2024 was that GT3R, that looks similar, of course, that looks similar to the RSR, but it's a completely different car. That's why I wanted to do this video now, because just recently arrived on the market the Nuno Plus model referred to this car, plus an outsider that it was a pleasure to know arrived on the market soon. This is the Porsche GT3R commemorative box, even die-cast, quite dusty, I took it also this when the model arrived on the market, so I think because die-cast are constantly up to date to the real stuff arriving. Probably it is gadget that they sell through the official dealership, quite cheap stuff, you know, stuff that you pay for 20-30 bucks, so it's nothing compared to the price we pay in our type of modeling, you know. And this is the model that I wanted to show you because it is arriving now on the market, made by Tamiya. It's a slightly different version because this was the first one. Tamiya have a different, slightly different body, but basically the car is this one, is a GT3R S. And many asked if it was possible to do the nice racer, because the most common racer, you remember, this is already a museum car. This is already stuff that goes in a museum. They don't use it any longer. They go to private contenders, so it's not something that is followed by Porsche. Official Porsche don't follow that any longer. They switched now to the categories with the Mantei Racing. Now they call it the American Racing Rexy Porsche, but it is this company anyway, basically the official stuff. So many people wanted to arrive to the real critical question. It will be possible to use the RSR and convert it into a Rexy GT3 or the other version of Rexy, because there is 3 or 4 cars. There is the yellow Mantei, there is the pink Rexy, so there is several, you know. Plus this is an IMSA winner racer, so that's why I wanted to do the video here, because I wanted to show you the real difference when people is chatting about we can convert it. It's not that you paint that in green, yeah, they look the same. In the same way you can also take this, paint it in green and make it like a Rexy. Okay, but if you are here looking my video and so on, you know that we are constantly searching for the perfect detail, for something that is a little bit special, you know. It's not just the toy that from 20 meters looks like, and it is not. And what people want to do is from far away, look, you place just the decal over, it is the same car. But let's look at closer difference between the cars. So first of all, the overall look, there is a slightly giant difference already in the beginning of everything that we are talking about. The RSR, for racing purpose, featured a different mounting of the engine from the after the second axle position that was famous. I don't know the British definition of that, but the engine was after the secondary axle and became slightly more in the center of the car, while in the ordinary GT3 that is starting anyway for a kind of production car, the motor is still in the conventional position. So already this is completely different. That's why the RSR features a completely black part of the glass that is not absolutely not in the GT3R, because all this area is black, because the engine is exactly under here. Instead in the GT3 the engine is not here. This is a part of the chassis and the engine is still there. So this is already the biggest difference. But basically the models are different, even if people think they look the same. Yeah, they look the same, but they are not. Look, for example, the C-pillar. Look, the C-pillar, and they are quite precise in making the shape. So it is not so die-cast toy, not so much, not any longer. Look how thinner it is, the C-pillar in a 992. The door side, let's place something under to make you understand slightly better what I mean, but I think you already get what I mean. And my point is that it's pointless to try to convert a 991 to a 992. Okay, in modeling you can do everything, but the car is different, you know, the car is different. Look at the door. The cutting of the door is different. Look at the front fender, the wing. There is featuring that way. In a GT3R is made this way with vents. Look at the front end. RSR, GT3. The back, look at it's really completely another car. I mean, they are both Porsche, they are both racing Porsche, okay, but also my 1973 Porsche was a racing Porsche, but doesn't matter at all with this stuff. Let's try to place it here and show you better using 2 hands. Look at the back of the car. Look what you have here. And this was already an evolution, because I made, if you look at my channel, you find the first edition of 2013, and it was already an RSR, based still on the previous model, so it was still different from this one. But look at the rear bumper here, and look how it is made in a 992. It's a completely different line. The right line, the back lights, with the big line inside of the modern Porsches, the extractor is completely different. I really don't know how people can be thinking to do something like this in modern world of modeling, I mean, when everything is around to have a decent copy, you know, it's like the guys that try to make the flying lizard. I don't say so much when I cross about social media and so on, because then it seems that they want to bash other people's works, but damn it. If you want to make it something that really resembles, if you spend money, if you spend your time in doing something that resembles an object, if you have fun with it, it's a typical crap phrase, it's okay. But if you are making models, then otherwise buy the stuff, it's already done, you spend 20 bucks, you're happy. Now this is also in offer. I was just checking before making this video. Now you can find this at 15 euros, 15 euros, neither a couple of wheels. So the only point, the only match that you, the only possibility that you can have to do something like this will be if somebody, and I don't think I will make it, will just make a racing copy of this body. This is the only and existing model of the Alpha model. I've slightly, that I paid, this is not something that the company gave. I bought this model, so this is something that I absolutely wanted to have because I like this type of model. But an idea should be just to copy this body made by them. Also with the last evolution, because remember that still this kind of Rex is related to the first car used in the beginning of the season, so the late season car is already different, you know, so you can change some stuff in their original mold. Also because, for example, there is some mistake, like for example this line that they make it continuously. I get a friend working for the AO Racing company, and he took a picture of Rexy immediately after she arrived to the box to make a pit, and for example, if you look closely to the picture, the line of the final bumper is different. They made it continuously, instead they arrive slightly different here, but it is still not like something that you have here. This is the RSR front end. More, if you look closely at the front end, the lights are smaller, the fender have an edge, all this area is different, you see. This is the fuel intakes, you know, and in the RSR they are completely, it's another car. It's another car. Then of course you can, maybe the line of the car is from here, we are 1 meter from the model, they are similar, but this is not the case. This is not this is not the point, you know. I wanted just to do this video because I'm a little bit tired, you know, and I don't want to write so much on social media, because I mean it's much more easy. People just simply get angry because you think that they make them smaller, you know. Instead the point is, believe it or not, there is no possibility today to make a decent, of course, realistic and conversion, because if you have a 3D printer, you're a skilled designer, you make your own body, with the file you can find online, you reprint, everything is possible in model. But for the average modeler, there is no way that you can make from a RSR 2018 a modern GT3R Rexy 2024, period. Simple like that. You can use the Nunu like a donor kit, but all the entire body is completely different. And also there you still have the issue about the interiors, because the RSR, I made 2 models of them in the past, ends here, so you have to create by your own the rear end of this. What are we talking about? So don't believe the crap that you read online. It is still something that is not available. I mean, it is available. The simple way is go for it. Go for it. There is the 992 GT3R Alpha model, period. Now there is also a company that already prepared. I was just starting this video before I seen a thread where was a company, SK Decals. They do excellent decals, but why in hell propose Rexy decal for something that you cannot find? This is something that still until now belong to the racing world. They are rare, they are difficult to have, they are expensive to produce, and they are expensive to buy, and usually difficult to build up. Simple like that. If you want to do this game, then you are welcome. If you just want to talk about making something easy to go, because at the end you go slightly cheaper. I mean, this was a model that costed 150 euros, okay? But then you have to find a model here, you have to find the decal there, and you think that you are nearly $50 under. You're not so much under, you're not switching from 500, you know, this is a model factory hero 112, cost 800 euro, I go for 150, then it's okay, no? That's my 2 cents. So, and even less think about using, well, maybe, yeah, if somebody does, this is an idea for somebody that have time and they want to waste some money. If you want to do this in racing, you copy this one, you buy the model, of course, then you copy this part, and then you maybe can think to make like a conversion for the Tamiya car. That is already more believable GT3R, because it's still a street legal car made in ordinary production car, and it is not the racer. Believe me, with the RSR, you just build up the RSR. They have many different liveries, but it is an RSR, period. Simple like that. That's my opinion, guys. Thanks for watching, and write me in the comment what do you think about this. Really curious to know about this. Thanks for watching.